He's got a man wide open. Can he come down with it? He does!
Welcome everyone to the RTV studios here at Martinsville High School for Inside Martinsville Football on WRAP 15 Sports and the MHS Rewind YouTube channel. I'm your host Eric Meyer, joined as always by Artesian head coach Brian Duggar. We've got a lot to talk about here as it's homecoming week for Martinsville as they will host the Whiteland Warriors on Friday night. The Artesians though go on the road on last Friday and they battle the Franklin Grizzly Cubs and head coach Chris Cole. And Coach, Franklin gets off to a great start last week, and they end up coming away with a big victory.
Yeah, we decided to not get off the bus, I guess, and we got off to a real bad start. 3 turnovers early that put them in position within the 5-yard line, I think, all 3 times, and they jumped out 21-0 before we could even blink. It felt like so. When you dig a hole like that, you're going to be fighting uphill all night, and then if it just, a mistake really at that point in time puts you back even further. And that was our night in a nutshell. We made way too many mistakes. We did not play good football. It was, I don't know what the reasoning was. I don't know why we didn't have our intensity and energy that we had at the previous, 4 games. That was lacking and missing, but that's on me and our coaching staff to make sure we fix that and we bring that energy intensity moving forward.
That's the big question that coaches answer on a daily basis, sometimes hourly basis when you're dealing especially with 16, 17, 18-year-old kids as well. The contest, like you said, tough start for you guys, made even tougher by the fact you're facing some injuries. So you really couldn't afford to make some of the mistakes that happened there early on. And then Franklin, to their credit, took advantage of it.
Yeah, and that, like we talked about last week, that Franklin was a really well-coached team. And when you go against a team like that, if you make mistakes, they're going to pounce on it. I think I thought that would be a much closer game. I thought that would be a fun game. I thought that would come down to the wire. I thought it was 2 pretty evenly matched teams. And to Franklin's credit, they played their best game of the year too. It wasn't like we just handed them something. They made some plays. They did a good job. Coach Cole and Coach Taylor, our defense coordinator, had a great game plan for them. And we just didn't bring it. And Franklin pounced on that, and they had a great night and a overall great showing for them. Injuries, they weren't as prevalent as the mistakes, but when you have that on top of the mistakes, that's where it starts to compound a little bit, and that was a major issue for us.
If you wanted to find a bright spot, it was Tyler Cox. He had been a bright spot really throughout the season, but he goes for over 200 yards, running hard, and a lot of those times he didn't have anywhere to go. He makes a quick little jump cut, doesn't stop, and then just runs away from people.
Yeah, we're extremely proud of how hard Tyler's running. Anytime you have a running back go for 200 yards, that's a great effort on that night. And, the offensive line was good at times, and creating some holes. And other times, like you said, he kind of created his own holes and made some things happen. So, he had a great game. Wish we could have put more with him to kind of put together a better game and a competitive game, but. Going into the game, we felt like we could run the ball and we could have some success, and that showed. Problem was when you're down 21, it kind of dictates a little bit more what you're doing.
When you look at the contest as well, a game like this, does sometimes, I don't want to say expose some things that you guys maybe need to work on or need to shore up, but does sometimes you see, hey, this is how they defended us, maybe we need to start doing this in the future? Does any of that play into play after a contest?
Yeah, I feel like that's any game.
Yeah.
You kind of look at what they did to attack you and what they did to would take away on offense. So that's any game in general. It gets exposed a little bit more, like you said, in a big loss like that. You kind of really evaluate, okay, it's magnified. That's really what it is. That's a better word for it. It kind of puts, like you said, a spotlight on it of, right. Okay, hey, it's not just this issue, but it's also this and this and this. So, you go back to the drawing board. You look at kind of what you're doing. You look at personnel. You look at different things and kind of try to put the best effort out the next week.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights, and you'll see some highlights from Tyler Cox on there as he did a great job running the football, and here we're on defense to begin with.
Yeah, and like I said, our defense, that was not their best game, but, you know, in retrospect, when you put 21 points on the board, giving them the ball in the inside the 5 2 or 3 times, that's not a good recipe. I thought they did a good job competing early and fighting, but we just kind of gave them some holes early on to kind of dig out of. Larry's been again solid. He got beat a little bit later on in the game, but it's just part of playing corner a little bit. It's going to happen every once in a while, but he's been super solid for us. Here's Nike. You talked about that nice jump cut, and this was a big run here because it kind of got like, okay, look, I believe it got us inside here, and we scored, and it's 21-7 at this point in time, and you're thinking, okay, we're gonna start doing some stuff. We're gonna make this interesting, and start competing a little bit. Like we finally gotten off the bus and woke up a little bit.
At 21-0, a lot of people think you're totally out of the game, and you're like a score and a stop from being right back into it and having them on the road.
And that's what we told them at halftime. We're 2 big defensive plays and a couple scores away from being right back in this game.
Yeah. The defense without Bo Hass on, and you can tell a little bit Bo has been playing so well.
Yeah, Bo's a huge part of our defense and our success, and we had some guys step up, but when you lose the heart of your defense like that, that's tough. Here's the big one right before the half, and again, this is kind of one of those that, like, we could build off momentum, come out second half, just every time we kind of started the tipping point the other way, we could never really finish it off, or they would make a play, like I said, to their credit, and just different things here and there. It's nice having that big guy back. We broke his hand, and playing out there, toughing it out, and we missed the first game, but he's been a warrior for us up front. There he is, this pounding. I mean, so you can't complain about the way he's running right now. He's just a really good football player, and like I said, we're proud of his effort. It's been nice having Matt back too. He's not fully healthy right now. He's kind of battling through some things, but it's been nice. And there's Braxton Dilly, the touchdown machine.
Yep. It's the annual touchdown pass from Braxton.
Yeah, he's, like I said, he kind of comes in and sparks us a lot there. Gotta love the celebration there. Jenkins I think on the audio clip you can hear Jenkins just laughing too. And Garrett again. Garrett, as I said, every week he gets a little bit better and a little bit more confident. He's going to be a good football player for us. Second half, we really got the run game going again, just kind of pounding down and pushing the ball and grinding that way, and it was nice. And we were, chunk after chunk after chunk, and that was kind of the game plan going in. But when you put, you dig yourself that 21-0 hole, it changes your philosophy a little bit.
It's tough to come away from. So having the game and what happened in the game, you come back this week. How's practice been thus far here for the first couple of days of practice?
Practice has been good. Our big mindset right now is not being content. I feel like we had some success the first few weeks. Even in the games we lost, like losing to Decatur Central, we felt like we played pretty well. It was 28-21 going into the fourth quarter. So we felt like we're close. We're right there on the verge. And excuse me, we just I feel like there's this level of content right now. Like they're not wanting to do what it takes to take the next step. So that's really been our focus this week, is pushing ourselves a little bit more and not being complacent with being good. We're pushing to be great. We're pushing to be elite, and kind of really looking at our mindset a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to get ready to talk about those words. You talk about it a lot. Be good, be great. Don't just be good, and try to be elite as well, and trying to get these kids, even in our class, the fact that, hey, just don't do it to do it. Do it to do it well. Do it to learn it. And trying to get kids at this age, I'm sure even more so with coaching. Yeah.
That's a big message of mine. I've told kids that there's one thing that when you leave my football program, I don't ever want you to be content or settle with anything in life. I want, down the road, I want you to be a better employee. I want you to be a better husband, a better father, all those things, because that's what our goal is to make kids better. It's that mindset. The settling and being content, the apathy is something that's easy to get, And we're really trying to push through that in all phases of our development, whether it's on the field, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's with their families. And right now I feel like we've got a little bit too much of that in the football field, and we're trying to fix that right now.
Awesome, right there with you. I think that's great because, like I said, I try to preach that to my kids as well because I think it's so important that you control what you can control and put your best effort in. You never know who's watching, and it may turn into a pretty big time job sometimes if you're doing it well when somebody important's there watching you. Whiteland, a team coming in on Friday night. So Franklin, mirror image, if you will. Whiteland, not a mirror image.
No.
They're going to use some trickeration, if you will. And that fly sweep that they like to do, they've done it since they're second graders, and Coach Fisher does a great job with it. He always has great athletes. He's got big kids, and it's a tough offense to prepare for.
Oh, it's extremely tough, and our defensive staff, I like our game plan, but that being said, what they do is still tough, and there's, we've told our kids, with all their stuff and their smoke and mirrors and their fly motions and their jet motions and all that stuff, there's times where they may hit us with a big play, and we just got to play the next play. They're going to give you some false reads, they're going to give you some good reads, and you got to kind of just do your job over and over and over again. It's a fun offense to watch. It's not a fun offense to go against, I'll tell you that. I have a lot of respect for Coach Fisher and what he does, and that even their defense is sound and really, really well coached, and they attack you a lot of different angles as well. So they're just, again, another well-coached football team. That's a theme here in the mid-state, unfortunately.
Right.
And they're talented too, so it's going to be a tough matchup for us.
And like you said as well, they've been doing it for so long, and it's hard, and you can't just get complacent if you will, because they've got answers as well. They see what you're going to do, and they've done it long enough that they're going to change some things. So it'll be tough coming up on Friday night, I'm sure. Could you talk a little bit about the people that aren't familiar with what they'll see basically every play out of Whiteland in terms of what they're going to do? Can you talk people through that a little bit for the laymen that are watching out there that may not understand?
So they'll do a lot of unbalanced formations, a lot of different looks, and there's always going to be a jet motion, a guy coming across. Sometimes they'll give it to him, sometimes they won't, but it's kind of what we call look at the birdie, eye candy stuff a lot of times, trying to get your eyes to not be disciplined and trust your reads up front. But they're wanting to really pound the ball. They're an ISO power team. They want to establish that. And then every once in a while they'll give it to that jet guy, which can be a false read for what you're seeing, and all of a sudden it's a 40-yard play because you're trusting your reads inside, and they're doing something in theory that's a little undisciplined, but it's actually really good stuff. So it makes it tough to go against because your read's telling you one thing, your discipline's telling you to do this over and over and over again, and all of a sudden, well, hey, he did this, and this guy's going that way with the ball. What do I do? So it's really tough to prepare for. But again, it's going to come down to us doing our job consistently, trusting our reads, and just doing what we've been coached to do.
Watching yesterday, Dan Orlovsky on football breaking down is similar to what the Rams were doing a little bit against the Eagles. They send some of that eye candy. You get going here one way or the other, and then all of a sudden, you're wide open in one-on-one type situations. And so a little bit of what you're talking about, obviously hard at the pro level for them to do, definitely difficult at the high school level to try to be disciplined, and even when you are disciplined, to understand that sometimes they're just going to pop something on you.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've really preached to our defense is don't get frustrated this week. If we're doing our job and stuffing them, and all they're getting are those random plays every once in a while, we can survive that. If we get undisciplined and start worrying about that other play, then they're going to just they're going to ground and pound on their ISO and their power. So it's all that stuff, all that movement, the shifting, the motioning, it's tough, and they're doing that because they want you to get undisciplined, and you're going to hear that a lot from our sideline this week. Trust your reads, play discipline. That's our motto this week on defense.
And when you look at them now, they've got some big guys up front, some little backs that'll run it so they can hide a little bit behind it. On the flip side of the football, they aren't too shabby as well on the defensive side. What can we expect out of them on the defensive front?
They're a 3-4 defense. They'll remind you of some of those, being from Indiana, the Indianapolis Colts will remind you of some of those Patriot teams, that 3-4 that does a lot of blitzing and bringing edge pressures and different things, mixing up what they do. I think that's one thing that they do really well defensively is they mix up what they do. They don't just line up and play this or do this every time. So they're going to give you a different look just to give you a different look. It reminds me a lot, as I said, of those Patriot teams that weren't going to get stuck in a look. They were going to consistently mix things up. So, we just got to continue to get better. Our theme on offense is to quit making mistakes. We can't have wrong routes run. We can't block the wrong guys. We can't not communicate up front. We looked at some of those plays early on in the game. Look at one of those interceptions. I think there were 5 guys that did something wrong on the play, and it's like you can't overcome that. So we just got to really get back to trusting our job and doing what we've been coached.
You guys talked a little bit about the keys of what you're going to have to do, and we'll reiterate that here one time as well. So things, again, offensively and defensively, that you need to do to come out successful on Friday night.
Well, I think one thing that's kind of gotten away from us a little bit the last few weeks is we've been a really good team up front. Our offense and defensive line have been really solid. Last week they weren't. They got punched in the mouth a little bit, and I don't know, excuse me, I don't know if that was we weren't, like I said, off the bus yet. If Franklin was much better up front than I thought they were. I thought we were pretty even up front as far as that game went, but we got pushed around a little bit on both sides, and I think a key this week is going to kind of get back to our identity up front. Those guys, those guys are awesome. I love those guys. They compete, they fight, and we just didn't have that last week. So I really want them to get back to being the unit that they are up there. And second thing, we got to do a much better job taking care of the ball. Turnovers are becoming kind of a bugaboo, if you will. They're becoming kind of our problem. We're putting our defense in bad spots. It's costing us points. I don't know that anyone's stopped us yet. I feel like we've stopped ourselves quite a bit. And some of that is I don't think we've given teams the opportunity to stop us because we're making mistakes. So we got to do a better job of controlling what we can control on offense and taking care of the ball.
Healthy or healthier this week coming in?
Yeah, we'll be close to full strength. We got some guys that are still banged up. They're fighting through. They're not full speed yet, but each week we get a little bit closer to being healthy, and hopefully we can get over that hump and get something rolling here.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck on Friday night.
Hey, appreciate all you guys do.
That's the head coach, Brian Duggar, here inside Martinsville football with the Artesians. Friday night should be a good one out there at Ciderwoods Field for homecoming as the Whiteland Warriors come to town. Get out, support the Artesians, get your tickets online. If you can't make it, you can always tune in to the MHS Rewind YouTube channel. Also check us out on IHSAA TV as well and see the live stream of Martinsville and Whiteland. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach for coming in. For Brian Duggar, along with Silas McFarlane and Trenton Moody, who helped produce it, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Martinsville football.
He's got a man wide open. Can he come down with it? He does!